If you're tired of getting hung up when you're fishing a Wacky Rig or a Neko rig, then I've got the answer to all of your problems. My name is Wesley Littlefield with YourBassGuy.com, and today we're talking about the chicken rig. This is like a mix between a Texas rig and a Neko rig, and it's essentially a weedless Neko rig, so you don't get hung up. It's a very simple rig to make and to use. So to make it, you only need a worm, either a Neko hook or an EWG extra wide gap hook, and a nail weight. That's essentially it. So now I'm going to show you exactly how to rig it. So I've got my Neko hook here, and I've got a worm, and I'm going to hold it by the tail, which some worms might have a tail, some might not. And I'm going to come down, just a few inches. It depends on the size of your worm, just how far you want to come down, but you want to have enough slack to where it has action on both sides of the worm. And I'm going to go into the worm, not all the way through it, and then come back out the worm, just like that. I'm going to push that up, twist it over, and now I'm going to come back all the way through my worm and then skin hook it like so. And that is my worm. And now I'm just going to take the nail weight and put it in the head part of the worm. So if you're fishing a little bit of rocky areas and you want to leave it sticking out a little bit, or if you're using a different type of weight, there's like half moon nail weights that work really well. And when you hit the rocks, they kind of click clack. But that's it. Really doesn't take very long to rig. Pretty simple. And you're going to get a crazy action as you're about to see. And now we're going to head out to the pond, and I'm going to show you how to fish it and where to fish it. All right, we're down at the pond. I've got my chicken rig ready to go. You'll notice that I'm throwing a weird looking bait caster. This is actually my grandpa's old bait caster and his rod that I just thought it'd be fun to play with. You know, everybody's always worried about what's the perfect rod and reel combo. And while I think it's important, I think this will show you that really that's not the most important thing. I've got my GoPro rigged up, so let's go see if we can't catch a fish. It's super hot out right now, middle of the day. It's like 2 o'clock, sun's beating down. It should be a really good time for the chicken rig. We're about to find out. All right, so I'm gonna cast it out and I'm gonna let it sink all the way to the bottom. This is a bottom finesse tactic, so it's gonna be working the bottom and working slow. The wind is gonna make it a little bit difficult for me today, but I think we're gonna be able to sneak out a bite or two. So now to work it, I'm literally just gonna pop it, and you can see me shake my rod just enough. You see that rod tip? Just shake it just like that. And that's basically me just squeezing my rod back and forth with my hand, or shaking the tip just a little bit, just to give that lure, that worm, just a little bit of action. And I'm not gonna reel it in and pull in the lure. I'm just gonna drag it with my rod tip, or in this case, let the wind blow it with my line, blow my line and everything. To combat this wind, you're gonna see that I'm actually pointing my rod tip down a little bit, or a lot of bit. And that's just to help keep my line out of the wind as much as possible and help me be able to feel a bite when it happens. Another way that you can fish this is, of course, more like a Wacky Rig, where you're gonna pop it a little bit more off the bottom and reel up the slack, let it sink back down, and pop it off the bottom and let it sink back down, reel up your slack. And this is a little faster way to fish it. You can cover a little bit more water this way, and it's just, you know, it's another way to fish this very versatile little rig. Got him. Well, he's no giant, But there you go. That is the chicken rig. As you can see, there's a couple of different ways you can fish it, several different locations you can fish it. You know, I was fishing mainly silty bottom and weeds and pond scum, but I spent most of my time actually fishing and not pulling that stuff off of my hook because it's so weedless. And that is why I love the chicken rig. If you're fishing somewhere shallow, for instance, that you don't need that weight, then you can fish the Wacky Rig. And if you want to learn how to rig it and how to fish it, check out the video down below me. And always remember that education is important, but fishing is essential.